Hey, it's Julie. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I talked with Heather Dampier. She's the Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Avena Healthcare. She started her position at the beginning of summer and spent 800 miles on the road and visiting all of her communities. Avena Healthcare is based in Kansas. They are primarily skilled nursing and some assisted living, and she shares her first impressions, what she learned from her time on the road, and gives some great advice about outreach. This is an area of challenge for a lot of people. So I hope you enjoy and take away some tidbits from her because she does know a lot. She spent most of her career in out in the field, in outreach, building relationships with referral sources, and it gives tremendous advice. So hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks so much for listening. This episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast is sponsored by Yardi. The Yardi Senior Living Suite combines resident care, marketing, sales, finance, business intelligence, pharmacy, and operations, all on a Cloud Forbes 100 ranked, cloud hosted HIPAA and SOX compliant software platform. The suite of products is single stack, uniting on a fully integrated platform. It offers intuitive functionality that helps provide the best care and improved health outcomes across your communities. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. I'm Julie Podewitz, and today I'm joined by Heather Dampier, who is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Avena. Is it Avena Healthcare?
Advena.
Avena,
Yes.
long E sound. Avena Healthcare. Heather, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you. It looks like you're on the road today.
I am a traveling bandwagon. So sharing all of the things of Advena.
Well, tell us a little bit about Avena Healthcare.
Yes. So, as you know, I've been in the healthcare industry in skilled nursing, assisted living, and independent living for my entire career. I always say my daughter's 31. I've been in long-term care for at least 29 years, as that's when I started. And so Advena is the most put together company that I've ever been with. I will say I have done tenor with other buildings, other companies that were much bigger and much smaller. However, what I found with Advena is that we have such a solid structure at the executive level like I've never encountered before. And so everybody there believes in our mission statement, which is it actually Advena means newcomer. So when a patient or resident comes to live with us, whether it's short-term or long-term, we make sure that we're meeting with them initially just to assess their needs, to see if they want to do breakfast at 10 a.m. versus 8 a.m. And so really they're the driving force behind the entire day at Advena, at whatever facility they live at.
And where are you based? Where's Avena
So
based?
Advena is based in Manhattan, Kansas. Our facilities are all over the state of Kansas. And currently we have six facilities and we are growing. And so we hope to expand further into Kansas. Our owners, Willie and Michelle, they have a motto or a vision that we want to expand, but nowhere that we have to fly. So right now I'm a road warrior.
You are a road warrior,
Yes.
and you're on the road right now.
Yes.
That's not a fake background.
No, it's a real one. It's a real one.
That's Kansas. I think well, it's a beautiful day in Kansas, it looks like.
Yes, yes. I'm in Missouri today, but yes,
All right. Well, it's a beautiful day in Missouri.
it is. It
Uh,
is.
So I read a post recently that prompted me to reach out to you. You and I've met before, But
Yes.
I thought, oh, I have got to learn more. You wrote that you were just off the road after traveling 800 miles to visit all of your communities, all of your sites. And I
Yes.
reached out and to say, oh, I want to learn. I want to find out, first of all, um, how, how long was that trip? And then what did you learn? What did you learn? And I love
Yeah.
meaning newcomer, by the way. I love that because I think if we approach every day, or approach our job, approach our life, approach what we do as like newcomers, right?
Yes.
Fresh set of eyes or a fresh mindset. Um, gosh, what can we learn? I love I
Absolutely.
love it.
Absolutely. So I was onboarded just early in August, and after doing so, as part of my onboarding, I was to visit all of the homes in the portfolio. And if you know me, you would know that even before my start date, I had already asked for permission to do drive-bys by all of them, or to go in and secret shop them, Julie. Like I was like, I'm going to secret shop these buildings. I'm going to know all about them on day one. However, I wasn't permitted to do that. So as soon as I got clearance, I went out to and met all the administrators, all of the teams, many of the residents and families in them. And so I started learning the culture of each of these buildings, and just trying to get to know all of the leadership and how each building works. And I came in as a newcomer. Many of these folks had been there for a while. We have some new admins. We have some admins that have been there for a while. However, I was the newcomer, so I had a fresh set of eyes. And so walking into some of my communities that may have been doing amazing and have, over 80% occupancy or over 90% occupancy, and they're doing awesome. But there's always, I'm the person who wants to be full with a wait list. And so when I came in, I'm assessing, okay, what could we do here? Which building could do this niche? And tell me about what we do here. Tell me what you do really well so we can start developing those things. So it was a really exciting trip. I did it in less than a week. I think I actually started touring on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and I made it home to my family by Friday. So it was a whirlwind trip. But I just took so much in over the days. And then I went home and immediately started journaling and making notes, and compiling for each building, who went where and all of those things. So the last 45 or 50 days have been a whirlwind, and I've learned so much about my teams and about my company. And I know that I am in the right place.
Let me ask you, first of all, what is your portfolio? What Avena Healthcare
Yes.
is?
We
Tell,
are skilled nursing facilities.
still,
Two of my buildings actually have AL in them as well.
so primarily skilled nursing with some assisted living.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And what did that, and I agree with that, fresh set of eyes, right? Because you can only have a fresh
Yes.
set of eyes once or for very short a time, right?
Yes.
And how important that is. So what did you give me an example of like one of your communities that's doing really well? And you said,
Okay.
but there's still things that we can do that can be enhanced. Can you give us an
Yeah.
example?
Absolutely. So, as marketing and sales, as you know, when you walk into a facility or when you drive up to a facility, curbside is very important. And so on day one, I'm looking at the analytics of this building, looking at their occupancy before I even meet the door, the front door, right? And so as I walk up, a building may have a need for some flowers, some decorative things outside that make it look more welcoming. Um, and so that would have been my suggestion. And so that's one of the things identified. Um, some of the other buildings that you would go to, you might go, okay, so next time they do the grass, I'd like you to weed eat around this little area here. And so, as a marketing and salesperson, you're thinking always, what is this going to look like to that resident or that family who's going to come in and tour? And so we want to make sure that all of that groundwork is done, because as you know, perception is everything. And when we start getting these tours in, they might not know how wonderful the inside of the building is, because sometimes the outside doesn't match the inside. And so I'm very lucky that we are attention to detail folks within my company, and we're working every day on getting better and improving those things, as everyone is. But I think that that was one of the things that I took away from it was, since I was new, and since these people are so focused on caring for the families and caring for the patients and making sure all of the tasks are done, to have me come in with kind of that global perspective, or that 100-foot view or 1,000-foot view, I could look at it and say, okay, so you guys are doing fabulous inside. Everything is rocking. Your building smells amazing. Lunch looked great, but let's go outside and walk around and just stand here and see what a family sees when they drive up to our building.
Yeah, we can't forget that.
We can't forget
All
that.
of the
Yeah.
details, right? The
Yes,
attention to detail. Very good
that's
point.
right.
Where shifting gears just slightly, since you're primarily skilled nursing, you do have that assisted
Yes.
living component. Where are your leads coming from?
Yeah, so our leads primarily are coming from the hospitals for the most part. We also get referrals from other assisted livings and independent livings, but for the most part, they are coming from the hospitals, hospice companies, home health, and such.
And the million-dollar question here is how are those relationships built? Because so many have a challenge even getting in front of those
Yeah.
discharge planners, the caseworkers, social workers that give those referrals.
Oh my goodness, that's such a great question. I actually just hired someone for our Kansas City market, and she is very seasoned. And we went out yesterday and did a lunch in Topeka and had a fabulous meeting with the case managers at KU Hospital there. And one of the things that I feel like initially, when I coming into this market, I'm going to go backwards. So coming into the Kansas market was very different for me. I had worked in the Southwest Missouri market for years. I had dealt with the same case managers for over 12 years. I had them all on text. I had them as Facebook friends. And so I had developed deep relationships. And still, there's not a day that goes by that I don't get a text message that says, "Hey, what about this resident?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't work there anymore." But I would say that if you ask me one thing that someone could do who is looking to build relationships with hospital discharge planners, when you do have so many gatekeepers and so many people who are only letting you do one luncheon a year or whatever, if you are looking to get on the floor with the case managers, you have to start following your patients that go out to the hospital. Even if I didn't have one referral right now, I would look at my hospitalized list and I would say, who do I have in the hospital? And then I would immediately go up and see that patient and ask to talk to that case manager. Let them know who you are, introduce yourself, make sure that they know that you're going to be following the patient, and then see if you can build a relationship with them from that. Consistency is key. Being a one-stop shop. We talked yesterday at our meeting, truly being a resource. Many of the case managers that I met with yesterday had not any knowledge that we had a behavioral health building in Wichita. They did not know that we did certain niches in certain buildings. They only knew about one building in Topeka. And so I was able to share, really, when you send one referral to me and to my staff, you're going to be sending it to the entire portfolio, because we aren't going to be able to just, if we can't help you in one building, we're going to be able to work that referral to hopefully get someone placed that needs to be. And if we can't at our building, say we can't, say it's just out of our scope, we want to make sure that we have enough knowledge to be able to be a resource to these case managers, that maybe we just know someone who we could send them to.
No, that's great advice. So be consistent.
Yes.
Well, absolutely visit your residents in the hospital. Absolutely. And that's an absolute. I
Absolute.
I don't think it
Absolute.
happens all the time. I
It
really
does
don't,
not.
but it
It does
doesn't.
not.
You need to get there. And even if they're there for, like half a day, I mean, get there, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
be consistent because building a relationship takes some time and they do need to see you and
It
hear you,
does.
right?
It
Uh,
does.
yeah. What do you, um, I mean, you've got a lot of experience building relationships and doing outreach, right? And with
It
your
is.
certainly your new career here at Avena and your years prior, Heather, what is important, do you think, to case managers and discharge planners, social workers? What's important to them in regard to professionally speaking in serving their families, giving referrals? What what comes up?
I will tell you, and I will stand by this, and I know this is quirky, but um, there is a line in a movie, and it is, "If you're not first, you're last." And I will attest to the fact that if you are not the first, when that referral comes in, and your competitor has already put in the portal or has contacted that social worker and given a yes before you, the likelihood of you actually getting to take that patient in is probably 50%, if not less. These case managers are so pressed and overworked that they need someone who is fast and efficient to get to a yes. And so for me and my team, we have developed a process that I have used throughout the years that is tried and true. And that is, we have an intake nurse that is reviewing those referrals. As soon as that gets in, we have a 30-minute time frame. We have parameters where we have red, yellow, green, where we can accept everybody that's in this green section. Yellows, we're going to have to involve our team at the building and say, hey, like, what about this one? Or do we have too many bariatrics? Or do we have too many, whatever that might be? And so we streamline the process. When they send that referral to us, we're hoping to get back with them on all greens within 15 minutes, 15 minutes on all greens, and 30 minutes on anybody who is yellow. And so when we do that, when we're the first to do that, that's the first step. The next step is for me to pick up the phone and I'm going to call that family and I'm going to say, hey, I just want you to know that we have accepted mom and we would love to take her in at XYZ. And do you have any questions? Would you like to come in and take a tour? And that's just the way that we work. We are high touch. In regard to that, we want to be a resource to the family. Lots of times they have questions. You can't even imagine the number of times when we call a family and they haven't even been told by the hospital yet that mom is discharging. So it's a surprise to them when I call and say, hey, we've accepted mom at Bonner Springs and it looks like she's going to discharge us this afternoon. And so sometimes they hear from us before they do even the hospital. But I think it's very important that you're proactive with your process and that you are answering in a timely manner, um, and communicating to the social worker in a way that they want to be. We're finding that a lot of social workers are of a different generation and they don't want you to call them. They want you to text them. So if I get a referral, say from Kim, and she wants me to only reply in the portal, I'm only going to reply in the portal to Kim because I know that's her preferred means of communication. And so what we respect that, obviously, but I think that that's very important to find out when you're identifying referral sources. Can you tell me how you would like me to best communicate with you? And
Sure.
then on to that when we do that going forward.
So again, you're primarily skilled nursing and kind of
Yes,
referrals come in. Now, if you do have some assisted living.
we
Let
do. We
if
do.
if we shift just for a minute and put yourself in the seat of someone who is independent living primarily and maybe some assisted living, maybe some memory care, and they're
Yes,
maybe calling on the use of the world, the skilled nursing to build relationships for referrals. What
yes.
advice, I mean, being prompt, being consistent, what else, I mean, what other advice would you give? Like what's important in in the in developing that circle of influence and developing these relationships, because this is such an area, Heather, of challenge, that people just like throwing their arms up and saying that I don't know, let's just give it all to the aggregators, or we're
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
one of the things that I learned a few years back, I had made the big jump from skilled nursing to independent living and assisted living. And I remember my administrator at the time, my executive director in my independent living, looking at me in the face. And she was one of the best bosses I've ever had. And she said, Heather, I know that you're used to speed dating, but this is a romance. And I thought that that was really, really pivotal. And I'll never, ever forget that, because when you are working with referral sources for independent living and assisted living, obviously the tactics are going to be the same. But when you're actually selling that at the building level, it is more of a romance. It is a needs based. And I honestly think that those referral sources almost mimic that, right? Because if it's not an urgent, I need to move to IL or I need to move to AL, like it's a needs right then, those referral sources aren't under pressure like the ones at the hospital are to get that patient out today, right? It's a different sell. And so I would say the consistency, success stories is very, very important. That is something that every other organization I've ever worked with that I have implemented or pushed for, because I really think it's important that our referral sources know. In all honesty, Julie, physicians sometimes don't know where a patient falls in to the continuum of care. They don't know if that patient, they know that they have a skilled need, right? Okay, so you broke a hip, you're going to have some rehab, but they don't necessarily know the difference between independent living and assisted living. So we are the experts, and it is up to us to paint the picture for that referral source or that physician even of, okay, so this person came to my community a few months back. They were struggling with meals and things at home, and were frankly living in just 2 rooms of their home before they moved into our assisted living or to our independent living. And so you're painting a picture for them of what that looks like. I've always said I'm a salesperson, obviously, but I'm selling really, I'm a needs-based selling person. And so I'm not going to throw out the kitchen, everything in the kitchen sink, or dump out my purse to you if you're not looking for what I have. So I think it's really fact finding for one, finding out with those referral sources, do they have the ability to refer to our AL, or are they someone who only refers to skilled? And really, what does that look like? What is their clientele that they're dealing with every day? What are their needs? And you can still needs match, even if it isn't a skilled nursing patient. And I think it's very imperative that we look at those referral sources as and classify them as, okay, could they give me a referral today? Or could they give me a referral every month? Or is it someone that we just need to keep touching base with because they're a resource for me to share information and things like that? So I would say the principles are all the same, but I think it's definitely working that business uh, a little bit different when
Longer,
it's
well,
in the front. Yeah,
it is a
a
longer
longer
game.
sales
It's a
cycle. Yep,
longer sales cycle. It is, it's finding out, I think, based on what you're telling me, and it's about finding out what is important to that person. What's important to that referral source.
absolutely.
Do they have an opportunity? What does that look like? What are they hearing from their families? What's important? What's
Right.
changed? Asking questions, listening, connecting. I like what you said about storytelling, painting a
Yeah,
picture. Let's not assume. Maybe painting a picture of what your typical resident looks like. Have you
absolutely.
had a chance to visit? And if they haven't, and look, how many people are looking for something to do after work? Not a lot. Everybody's really busy.
Absolutely.
Maybe bring the picture to them, or bring
Yeah,
the story to them, and like, do you know anyone like Hazel? Then this, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, it's a long game, but you have to be out there like you are, out there continuously. And
Yes.
yes, and what would you say, uh, what is your advice for those road warriors out there, generally speaking, that have to hit the road and week in and week out?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your advice for staying sane, staying healthy, sane,
Yes. So one
passionate
of the
about what you
things,
do?
yeah. So I was a road warrior before I became the VP for Advena. I actually was driving 50 miles to my referral sources most every day. I was putting in about 200 miles just because of the location of my rural buildings. So this was not new to me. However, being away overnight was new to me. And so I will tell you that's been a learning curve, and being away from my family and things like that. But what I will say is just utilizing the downtime. When I go to the hotel at night, I kind of decompress, take a little bath, relax, and have some dinner. And I begin to find that without the distractions of home or whatever, that I'm able to actually be very productive after hours. And not to say that I'm a workaholic, but maybe I'm a workaholic. I love what I do. I truly am mission driven. I believe that I'm called to do what I do, and that God has positioned me and given me all the gifts and talents that I need to go do this. And so it really doesn't ever seem like work. So I think that's the biggest thing. And then when you get home, give yourself some grace. And like today, I'm driving back from a dentist appointment. And so you have to take care of business when you are home. But being present when you are at the buildings and when you are visiting with your staff and training and things is vital. And then carving out some time for you to take a bubble bath. Maybe in the evenings, you decide that you're going to go out to dinner and maybe do a little shopping after you get done with your buildings. That seems to be a little cathartic for me.
Always give back to yourself because you're giving to others all day.
Yes.
Really good
Yes.
advice. It is great advice. Heather, it's so great to see you. Thank you so much
You too.
for your day with me and with everyone listening and watching. Continued
Thank you.
success on the road and with Avena, skilled nursing and assisted living in beautiful Kansas and Missouri. And
Yes.
for all
Thank you.
it's my pleasure. For all of you listening, thank you so much from all of us at Grow Your Occupancy and the Grow Your Occupancy podcast. Please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate you all so very, very much. Until next time, I'm Julie.
Thank you.
Bye, Heather.
Bye. Thank you.
This episode of the Grow Your Occupancy podcast is sponsored by Yardi.